So I'm Dr. Monica Vagella. I am with Charlotte Natural Wellness. We're located off of Carmel Commons Boulevard, off of Johnston Road and Carmel Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our practice owner is Dr. Michelle Dillon. So I just kind of wanted to introduce myself. So here's a little bit more about me. I was raised using mostly natural Ayurvedic remedies. Growing up, when I used to get a sore throat, my mom would make me golden milk. Stomach aches, we use different types of seeds like fennel and ginger to kind of help with that. So just growing up, I've always been more naturally minded. And so kind of fell upon this career, and it really resonated with me, and decided to pursue it. Went to Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine for my 4-year medical degree after bachelor's. Grew up in the Charlotte area, went to UNCC for my bachelor's, and then my focus is really hormones, gut health, thyroid health. I work a lot with women's health as well. And I really like spending time educating my patient to make sure they really understand why we're doing what we're doing as far as therapies go, and really helping them understand their own bodies to feel better. So that's my goal, and kind of why I do these webinars. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I just really like to spend time educating my patients. We also have just a quick introduction on Dr. Michelle Dillon, our practice owner. She works with a lot of moms. That's been her passion, and helping people who are tired, lethargic, overwhelmed. She also went to the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. So there's just a little introduction on her. All right, so let's jump right in. Let's talk about the immune system, because we are jumping into the winter months, and definitely some viruses, colds, flus, COVID, all kind of in the mix coming up here in the winter season. So what is the immune system? The immune system is a network of cells that help protect you from bacteria, chemicals, viruses, allergens. Your immune system makes antibodies, and those antibodies can actually remember every germ it's encountered and can quickly remove it with those antibodies if it's been exposed to this germ before. So chronic exposure to pathogens such as the cold or flu can lead to infections, chronic inflammation, allergies, autoimmune disease. So just kind of like that, like with the flu, with the cold, these viruses change. But a lot of times, if you get a similar strain or a strain that you've never had before, will determine how severe your immune response and how severely you would be feeling sick. And so it's very, very interesting, our immune system. And what really ties the immune system is our gut. So I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about gut health and our immune system in a future slide. But we now have learned that 70-80% of our immune system is based in our gut. So what you eat plays a huge role in your ability to stay healthy. Trillions of bacteria reside in our gut, even more than the amount of cells we have in our bodies. There are more helpful bacteria and harmful bacteria in our gut, and we want to keep a healthy number of the helpful bacteria. So the helpful bacteria can keep the harmful bacteria at bay. They are responsible for producing certain vitamins we need to make energy, and they also feed the cells in the intestinal barrier, which is why I look more at the microbiome through different types of testing that we do, rather than jumping to like a food allergy test or something like that. I would mostly focus on looking at the bacteria in our gut to really see what is causing some of the symptoms. Common symptoms that people come in with, like IBS, bloating, all the way to inflammation, hormone imbalance, sleep issues. This is all tied to the gut. So I really, really like to spend a lot of time looking at the health and integrity of your gut, to really get to the root cause of what's going on overall. Um, and I'm just kind of going to get the elephant in the room out of the way. SARS-CoV-2, also known as COVID-19 or coronavirus. This is a new virus, which is why there isn't a lot of information available. We've only been in this officially termed pandemic for the last 8 months. And the medical community is studying this virus daily to figure out how it works. This virus is probably going to mutate and have different strains, which is why we've seen some people have more severe symptoms than others. But this is also in combination with a person's genetic makeup, their immune system, their gut health, and how well they eat every day, how well they take care of themselves every day. So there's a huge correlation with our personal health and how we respond to something like this. And so what we do know, common symptoms, very similar to a cold or flu, but also very different. So fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath, loss of taste and smell, fatigue, muscle aches, body aches, headache, sore throat, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, congestion, and or running nose. So I have had a few people that I know that have had this virus, and they've had it's very interesting. I've had people that are having just like shortness of breath and loss of taste and smell, all the way to like the full blown muscle aches, body aches, including shortness of breath, loss of taste and smell, fever, chills, cough. So kind of like two extremes. And then there is a post COVID syndrome, just like with any kind of viral exposure. Some people get chronic fatigue, brain fog, body aches, headaches, shortness of breath. Some that have genetically predispositions will have an increased risk of clotting. And there's also been reports of scarring on the lungs. So just kind of knowing that there are similar associations with this virus as far as like, after the virus still experiencing some symptoms. Another thing to look out for is cytokine storm. This is an immune reaction when too many cytokines, which is produced by your immune system, are released into the bloodstream, causing inflammation, nausea, fever, chills, and severe fatigue. Overstimulating the immune system can definitely lead to something like this. So you just want to be very careful in what you're taking, and really talk to your doctor about what is going to be best for you. So let's jump right into some of the things that I'm really recommending people focus on during this time. I would say sleep is huge. Immune function can be affected when we don't get enough sleep. Our bodies actually are repairing when we're sleeping. They're repairing tissue, they're breaking down old cells to get rid of them, making new cells, making hormones, making neurotransmitters, everything that you need to get through the next day. When we don't sleep enough, we're not giving our bodies enough time to do this, which is why the next day we wake up tired, exhausted, and then it's kind of like a buildup. If this happens on a daily basis, you're basically running on empty all the time. Sleep can be disrupted with stress, blue light from devices, work schedule, or even eating too much of a heavy meal right before bed. So there's a bunch of things that you can do to kind of help get better quality of sleep. I recommend drinking some teas like lavender, chamomile, passion flower, even lemon balm are helpful. Anything that's herbal, that's not going to have caffeine in it, is helpful. Avoiding blue light from devices. So I usually tell all my patients to turn off or just don't stare at a screen at least 1 hour before bedtime. Find something else to do, read a book or meditate, just something that doesn't involve being in front of a screen. Now, if you must be in front of a screen due to work or whatnot, there are different ways to kind of get around that with, the iPhones for sure. I know you can set your phone to turn off the blue light after a certain time. There are blue light filtering glasses. Even if you're not a prescription wearer, you can still get a non-prescription form of those. So there's different ways you can work around it, but ideally at least an hour before bed, I would say just no blue light exposure. So there's, and ideally you want to shoot for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Um, oh, where did my screen go? There we go. Sorry about that. Ideally, you want to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. This varies per person, depending on just your health and your immunity and things like that, what is best for you. Okay, so stress. Have you ever become sick after a stressful deadline or exam? I remember in medical school, even in undergrad, right after finals, I would always, always, always get sick. And stress can weaken your immune system by increasing the hormone cortisol, putting us in fight or flight mode. So short-term stress is okay and actually healthy, but when we live in a state of constant fight or flight, we are increasing inflammation and decreasing the production of white blood cells that can fight off this infection. So common stressors, of course, work anxiety, financial stress, tax relationships, poor blood sugar control, inflammation. So certain ways to decrease chronic stress, are meditation, prayer, gratitude. Journaling is a great way to express gratitude, breathing exercises, and yoga. Just turn off the news, especially currently with all the stuff going on with the recent election and COVID and everything. Just turn it off. Schedule yourself a time per day if you need to get informed or whatnot, but then don't check it again over and over and over again because it's just stressing you out. And another thing I usually recommend, and this also helps with your circadian rhythm, your sleep cycle, is getting natural light every morning before 10 a.m. Even if it's cloudy outside, just that natural exposure to light really helps calm the body. It helps lower inflammation, and it really helps set that circadian rhythm, that cortisol. It lowers cortisol, which helps with the circadian rhythm. So stress is a huge, 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 important factor in immune health. I just had a recent friend who I was speaking with, and she had expressed being very stressed out about certain things. Kids at home, homeschool has been really hard. A few family members that just have chronic illnesses and things like that have been hard to kind of manage during this time and being stuck at home. And a few days later, she texted me and told me she has COVID. And so, I do think there's a correlation with all of this ramped up stress that she had, and the contraction of COVID. And so just really, really work on reducing the stressors in your life. And of course, hydration. Human body is made up about 60% water. It facilitates our circulation, temperature, sweating, respiration, metabolism, digestion, and absorption of food. Water helps to transport nutrients and oxygen to our cells. It's necessary for our kidneys to remove toxins and waste, and it helps to flush out harmful pathogens that can make us sick. Another thing that hydration helps with is it helps move our lymph. And the lymph is what moves our immune cells. So, in order for our immune cells to do their work, we need enough water for them to move throughout our body and get to the places that they need to be. A good rule of thumb is to try to drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. As you see, this person is drinking out of a steel container. So I usually recommend drinking out of a steel container such as this. I would avoid plastic water bottles as those can definitely have association with EPA and other chemicals that actually can throw off your hormones called endocrine disruptors. So we can definitely talk about that in another slide or another webinar if you're interested in learning more about that. But ideally, I would recommend kind of doing water from one of these types of bottles. Also, exercise. Physical activity helps to flush out pathogens from our bodies by moving your blood and sending oxygen to your cells. So, in addition with hydration, we need to move to actually move our blood flow. And so, this helps to lower stress hormones, it helps to decrease inflammation. Sweating is another way to move out toxins from the body. Remember to pay attention to your body, as too much exercise can have the opposite effect. And meaning, what I mean by this is over exercise can make you more prone to injury. I've actually had women who exercise too much that actually throw off their hormones, affect their periods, things like that. So just knowing that, physical activity can help with just movement of pathogens out of our body. And like I said, I wanted to spend a lot more time talking about food and the importance of gut health and that sort of thing. So I am going to kind of get on a soapbox about this. Clean eating. Symptoms of a poor diet can reflect in fatigue, low energy, brain fog, poor memory, hormone imbalance, insomnia, mood imbalance, diabetes, and thyroid issues. So this is quite a bit, a variety of symptoms too. So eating a balanced diet with unprocessed foods, focusing on eating whole foods like nuts, seeds, legumes, fruits, veggies, eating the rainbow, as many different colors as you can eat, tolerate, lean meats and fish, ideally humanely raised, grains like rice. And then I typically say your plate should be at least half full of veggies, and about a quarter of your plate should be a healthy protein, and a little bit of healthy fat as well is very helpful in a good balanced diet. The reason I focus so much on this is because not everyone, I have patients that come in and they say, well, I don't really do well when I eat salad or kale or something like that that should be healthy for you. And so what I typically say, this is why I focus on gut health, because in my mind, when someone's telling me this, I'm thinking that something is off with their gut microbiome. And I really, really recommend testing and looking at the gut integrity. So really just focusing on, not eating inflammatory foods like chips or fast food or, sodas, things like that, that can really, really weaken that gut integrity, allow for bad bacteria to overgrow. You really want to just eat things that are going to help create a better microbiome, a better flora for your gut, which will help with your overall wellness and even just overall prevention of viruses, disease, anything like that. So you definitely really should focus on this as a huge part of your day. Like meal planning is super helpful, because a lot of times people are like, well, I'd like to do this, but I just don't have enough time, or I think of something too last minute and then I have to rush out and eat whatever I can find. And so, really, like maybe spending a couple of hours, maybe on a Sunday or whenever, to kind of prepare for your week. You can even do something like just cut up veggies, um, or just kind of wash veggies. And that way, like, that takes away some of the things that you have to do in preparation for making a meal throughout the week. It just little things that can really help overall with your gut health, and just overall kind of staying in a good routine with good, healthy, clean eating. So if you do get sick, what kind of foods should you think or focus on? Bone and or vegetable broth are really helpful. Mushroom teas really help with the immune system, specifically shaga and reishi. Electrolytes, coconut water is super helpful. Electrolytes actually can help um, prevent or help kind of with high fevers as well, like just kind of moving everything through your system, moving pathogens, moving the immune cells. So getting electrolytes when you're sick is super, super, super helpful. A pinch of Celtic sea salt can also help. A golden milk latte with turmeric and raw honey. This is something that I grew up drinking when I came down with a sore throat. And just kind of didn't feel good overall. Usually, my mom would put turmeric, a little bit of raw honey, and black pepper. Black pepper helps with the absorption of turmeric. And so just kind of making something little tea like this and drinking it really helped. Of course, up your veggies, lots and lots of veggies, all colors of veggies, drinking orange juice. If you can make it from fresh oranges, that's even better because those are high in vitamin C. Broccoli, which is rich in antioxidants and fiber, green tea, and garlic. And of course, none of this is medical advice. Remember, always check with your doctor before beginning a new regimen. And then elimination. This is one that kind of gets left off, and not a lot of people talk about it. But even in Ayurvedic medicine, which is ancient Indian medicine, this is a huge, huge part of overall wellness. If you are constipated, if you are not having a daily bowel movement, you are not healthy. When you poop every day, you remove waste from your system, and you're less likely to develop food sensitivities, and definitely keep healthy bacteria in your gut. Daily bowel movements also help keep the nervous system functioning and lower stress. And how is this connected? So between the brain and the gut, there is a nerve called the vagus nerve, which helps communication pathways. So when there's chronic stress, that vagus nerve communicates that information to your gut, which can definitely alter the type of flora you have, the type of bacteria you have. It affects the making of certain neurotransmitters like melatonin, serotonin, things like that. So just kind of really paying attention to stress management and elimination and gut health and clean eating is all tied in together. So just eating whole unprocessed foods with enough fiber every day really helps to stay regular. And then just some precautions to take. Of course, this is stuff that's been being said for the last eight months. Wash your hands 20 seconds minimum. Wear a mask. And this is not meant to be a political statement. There's definitely times when a mask is probably going to be necessary, and then there's other times where you don't need to wear one. Wear a mask in the appropriate places, like if you go out to the store. But if you're outdoors and going for a walk, you may not need it unless you're in a really crowded area. Flus, viruses, things like that, they're airborne. So, you want to do something to kind of protect yourself, but also protect someone else in case you're walking around and you don't realize you have something. And then, of course, disinfect. socially distance. If you kind of feel different, maybe check your temperature, and strengthen your immune system with the tips that I have provided above and before. Invest in your health. This is, this is for you. This is for your own quality of life and well-being. So it's important to kind of take responsibility for that and really take care of yourself. And then this slide, I kind of wasn't sure if I was going to present it, but I decided to go ahead. These are the supplements that I have found that may be helpful in immune support. I know specifically vitamin D is all over social media right now. Everybody's talking about it. Vitamin D deficiency is a common deficiency I see among many Americans. Being someone who's practiced in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a very sunny place, you would think that people would be fine because vitamin D is absorbed and made through sun exposure. And pretty much every patient I saw there had deficiency in this vitamin. And so really looking at your levels, you got to check your levels. This is a fat soluble vitamin. It's actually not even a vitamin, it's a hormone. So really you have to check your levels to make sure you're not overdoing it or have too little of it. So it's definitely important to talk with your doctor before starting any kind of supplementation. Again, vitamin C, zinc, turmeric are helpful with immune support. Andrographis, NAC glutathione really help with respiratory support. Probiotics, of course, gut health. Now we can do different types of testing to see what kind of probiotics might be most helpful for you, depending on what you've got going on in your flora. Fish oil, which is very helpful with inflammation. Elderberry, this one has been kind of up and down with being helpful in viruses. If you already have a virus, elderberry may not be helpful. It can be helpful in maybe prevention. And then there's also been use of melatonin. For people who are super sensitive to supplements and medications, homeopathic remedies seem to be helpful. And I've listed a few here: gelsemium, which helps with like flu-like symptoms; belladonna helps with fever and headaches; and eupatorium, which helps when the bones feel kind of broken, like when you have a flu and you just feel like chills and that sensation of like your bones being broken. Now, remember, none of this is medical advice. All of these things, you always have to check with your doctor before beginning any of these supplements or any supplements, and just kind of being really good at taking care of yourself. Let's see. I think there's another slide. Yeah, there it is. So that pretty much concludes my webinar today. We are offering a free 15-minute phone consultation, as well as $25 off in the next, if you're able to schedule a new patient appointment in the next day, next 24 hours. You can call our office at 704-543-5540 or visit our website at www.charlottenaturalwellness.com. I will open the floor to questions now.